I think there were some major missed opportunities in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. The 9th generation of Pokémon, in my opinion, will turn out to be a pivotal moment for the mainline series, because they were fantastic in concept, and less than fantastic in execution in a lot of areas. Some things came out well. I like to try and see the positives in everything. But yeah, we're all familiar with where they fell short at this point. But today, I want to talk about some things that could have maybe been done differently in, or things that could have been added to Pokémon Scarlet and Violet that would have bumped the ratings a little bit and improved the experience. Some pretty simple opportunities in some examples that weren't taken in these titles. I think the best thing we can do is just jump straight into it. And of course, the regular disclaimer here that these are just my thoughts and ideas I'm throwing out there. It's not that deep. It's just fun to spitball ideas. Okay, so the first missed opportunity in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet for me was not replacing gym battles in these games with battle exams. The whole premise of the games is that you are a student newly enrolled in Mesagoza's academy. I think it would have made so much sense to pull another Sun and Moon here and replace the usual gym challenge with something a bit more gimmicky that fits the specific region we're in. So instead of the traditional gyms we're accustomed to getting in mainline Pokemon titles, I would have put battle exam centers in their place. Much like what Game Freak did with the Gen 7 games, they would largely be the same thing. Let's be honest, it's all Pokemon battling. But a major difference here could be that each exam center focuses on a different area of Pokemon battling, and forces you to learn it through participation. So for example, you could have one battle exam centered around berries, where every Pokemon in your team has to be holding a berry to start the battle. Another could block you from using super effective moves, so you have to get more creative and strategic to pass the battle exam. There's a lot of fun stuff you could do with it. And of course, for things like the berry-centered exam I mentioned, you'd most likely prop up a special shop in that town that sells everything you could need in there. But yeah, that would be very on theme for the Paldea region. It felt like quite an obvious opportunity for me. I know they split opinion a little bit, but I personally was a fan of the island trials in Gen 7, and this could have been a perfect opportunity to mix things up again in that area. Gyms are obviously such an iconic and timeless feature within the core Pokemon formula, but I think we've reached a point now where they aren't as essential as they once were. We have loads of other vehicles for progression through the game nowadays, especially now we're into open world territory too. So I think it'd be cool to explore different things outside of gyms every 3 generations, let's say. Staying on the theme of school, I think it would have been cool to incorporate some sort of homework side quests in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as well. Actually, what I had in mind was student NPCs appearing randomly across the map, kind of like how they do anyway for trainer battles, but these students would just spawn in anywhere, and say that they need help with their homework, and ask you if you'll be of assistance. These would most likely be fetch quests, like catching a certain Pokemon for them, or finding certain items in the area. I'm kind of pulling from the fetch questy stuff in Pokemon Legends Arceus for this idea, I'll be honest. And upon completion, they give you some sort of reward, which could carry a small chance of being something really rare, like a sport ball or some rare candies. It's quite a small feature, but I think that would have helped fill out the world that little bit more, if the game could even handle it. Next up is something I actually predicted would be added to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in the DLC, but wasn't. And that missed opportunity is not having a Terra Max Lair down in Area 0. I think this was a huge missed opportunity. Similar to the Max Lair we got in Pokemon Sword and Shield, this would have been an avenue to catch the returning legendaries, and shiny hunt them as well. Still salty about the shiny locking in the DLC here. It would be basically laid out in the exact same way as Dynamax Adventures, but this would have been super interesting, because the legendary Pokemon you face at the very end of it all, in my idea, would have a random Terra type each time you went down that path. Same as with Dynamax Adventures, you could save a certain legendary's path to come back to it later, but here it wouldn't save the Terra type. That would be different every single time regardless. That would add such a fascinating strategic element. You'd really have to coordinate as a team to get through it and defeat the legendary boss. And in my opinion, that's much better than collecting these silly little snacks, and the returning legendaries just standing static around the Paldea region. I always theorized that maybe something along these lines wasn't done in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet to preserve a certain unique selling point of Pokémon Sword and Shield, to keep some sales of those games trickling in. And it probably worked if that is the case. People still play Dynamax Adventures to this day. I even do them on livestream myself sometimes. Speaking of which, you should definitely come hang out with me on Twitch sometime. Links in the pinned comment. I do really hope something like Dynamax Adventures comes back in the next generation, because they are incredibly fun to do. In my opinion, the coolest way to get returning legendaries, and a fan favourite in terms of shiny hunting methods, because you can shiny hunt alongside friends. Another missed opportunity in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet is not expanding on Titan Pokémon with post-game mini-events. Sort of similar to the NPC homework assignments I mentioned earlier, these would just appear randomly across the map. It'd be awesome to see random Titan Pokémon appearing across Paldea, once you've completed the Path of Legends storyline. It's not like it took a whole lot of effort to turn Pokémon into Titan Pokémon either, their models are just scaled up. So this would surely be very easy to implement. So imagine if you randomly had a Titan Gyarados appear at the beach, or a Titan Rhydon in a cave. And it'd be a cool way to give Union Circles a bit more utility too, because you could hop into your friend's game and get that Titan Pokémon on your map as well. Maybe even take them down together. Same as the Terradens, they'd just randomly respawn every day, and I think that'd provide a cool extra thing to do in Scarlet and Violet. Collect Pokémon with Titan marks. Maybe those Titans could even have a chance of being shiny, even if you stuck them at full odds. It's still an exciting extra thing to chase after. Defeating the Titan could give you one random Herba Mystica too as an extra incentive. So much you could do with this idea, so I do think that it's a sizable missed opportunity that it isn't in Scarlet and Violet. Obviously I'm talking about a lot of heavy hypotheticals here, and it's well established at this point that Pokémon Scarlet and Violet were released probably a year too early, so me pining for extra features with some of these ideas is of course a little silly in a sense. But we all do it with video games. We always pinpoint things that could have hypothetically enhanced the experience if they had been implemented in the game. So those are my picks. I'd love to hear yours. Are there any things you can think of that seem like they'd fit so well into Pokémon Scarlet and Violet, but just weren't present in the games? What opportunities do you think these games missed? Let me know any you can think of down in the comments. While you're down there, please do drop a like on the video. It helps a lot when you guys do that. Subscribe for more Pokemon content, join the Discord if you'd like to chat over there. Thank you for watching, take it easy, and I'll catch you all in the next one.